Hello and a very warm welcome to all of you. This is Game On. I'm Neha Bhardwaj. Also I have my colleague Abhishek Kumar here with me. It's a power-packed show this Monday. Let's get straight into it. We've got to start with the Under-19 final, and the accolades for Australian cricket keep coming as the country's Under-19 team lifted the Junior World Cup by beating their Indian counterparts by 79 runs in yesterday's final played in Benoni, South Africa. After the Australian senior men's team beat Rohit Sharma's India in the World Test Championship final and the ODI World Cup final in 2023, teenager Hugh Wypken's side lifted the Under-19 World Cup to hand more heartbreak to Indian cricket fans on Sunday. Having posted a record total of 253 for 7 in their 50 overs, Australia Under-19s bowled out India Under-19s for 174 in 45.5 overs at Willowmore Park to become the fourth Aussie Under-19 side to lift the trophy. The previous being in 2010 when Mitchell Marsh's team won in New Zealand. India Under-19 team led by Uday Saharan had compiled an unbeaten record to reach the final, much like Rohit's team had done last year. And much like the ODI World Cup final in Ahmedabad, here too it was the Aussie pace that troubled India the most. The decision to field all four of their young tearaway fast bowlers proved a masterstroke for Australia as they comprehensively defeated a very good batting order featuring the tournament's top two run getters in Saharan, who'd scored 397 in 7 innings, and Mushir Khan with 360 at an average of 60. Each of the four Aussie quicks took at least one wicket, with 18-year-old Mahali Beardman the best of the lot with 3 for 15. The left-arm spin of Raf McMillan also claimed 3 wickets. This win was set up by 3 40s to skipper Wypken, the opener Harry Dixon and Oliver Peake, with Australia's innings top scorer being India-born Harjas Singh, who saved his best for the biggest match of the World Cup, having endured a poor run leading up to the final. Harjas, whose family moved from India to Sydney when he was a young boy, had managed just 49 runs in 6 matches, but come the big day, the batter made 55 off 64 balls to get Australia to the highest score in an Under-19 World Cup final. But what this has done is that this has once again made us sit back in our chairs and wonder what is it about Australia that they just end up soaking all the pressure much better than everybody else. So we're going to try and dissect that. Abhishek, what do you think is it? It's, people have talked about the winning culture. People have talked about how Australians hate coming second. But there has to be some method to it, given how often they're doing it. In the last 8 months, they have beaten India in finals of ICC tournaments thrice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's in their DNA, I believe. Australia, they have 20 World Cup titles in the senior team between the men's and the women's team combined. The women's team has won 13 and the men's team has won 7. That tells you the whole story.
Yeah.
And then the Under-19 boys have won 4 World Cups. This was their fourth title. I guess it's in their DNA, and especially when it comes to India, they are their actual nemesis. India's nemesis, because against India they have a terrific record. Even if you look at senior men's cricket, in the 2003 World Cup final, and then recently a few months back, Rohit Sharma's men, lost against Australia. Someone every time turns up for Australia and changes the game. Yesterday, I believe it was Harjas, an Indian-born player, an Indian origin player who was turning the game for Australia yesterday. What a knock he played, 54 runs, took his time, was struggling a bit in the start of his innings, but once he got settled, he was hitting the big ones for fun. So and the difference in quality was obvious.
Yeah, I think 2 things that India needs to do now going into the next World Cup is please lose a match in the group stages. Just do not remain unbeaten till the very end, because that, as we've seen, does not work for the Indian team. The other thing being, in this case, I would have to say that it wasn't just Australia's winning mentality. I think the conditions favored them more than it favored India. I mean, that Willowmore Park, the ball was bouncing, it was moving, and then, of course, Australia did well to get those 4 fast bowlers who were moving the ball, bouncing the Indian batters. So it was difficult there for
the tactics were spot on, the decisions were spot on, because winning the toss and batting first in such conditions, when you know that the weather is overcast and you're going to have trouble facing the fast bowlers, but they knew exactly that India's strength was not really their fast bowling but their spin bowling. Soumya Pandey, who is a left arm spinner, is the highest wicket taker, was the highest wicket for the Indian team. Their pacers hadn't done that well, in the run up to the final. So Australia knew if they batted first and went on to post a good total, they had a good chance, and that's what they did.
Let's also talk about Uday Saharan, given that he is the top scorer of the tournament, pretty much going in his role model steps. He really wants to be like Virat Kohli, wants to play like Virat Kohli, wants to be fit like Virat Kohli. So Virat Kohli being the highest run scorer of the ODI World Cup last year, and now Uday Saharan being top scorer in this World Cup. We've got to talk about him, the future of Uday Saharan, and with this kind of game sense, with this kind of understanding, the number of partnerships, 50, 100, 150 plus partnerships that he forged with teammates, you do feel like he can be earmarked for the future. He is somebody that one can expect to see possibly in the Indian team in the future.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of talent in there, needs to be polished, needs to be, worked upon. But yeah, he definitely has that composure, and he has shown that in this tournament. Some really good partnerships. One that stands out was in the semi-final against South Africa, where he and Sachin Das combined to add 171 runs. When India were in deep trouble at 32 for 4, chasing 246 against a pace attack that was definitely one of the best in the tournament. So yeah, he obviously has that talent, but needs to keep working hard. And we have seen so many talented players, come from the under-19 setup in the past that have not gone on to do well for the team. Yash Dhul being the recent example. He's clearly struggling for Delhi, and we have seen a lot of players who have done well at the under-19 level and have done well at the domestic level, but are not made for international cricket.
Yeah, so you see both kinds. You see a Yashasvi Jaiswal, a Shikhar Dhawan who did well, and in fact in that list of top scorers in under-19 World Cup, the top 3 Indians, there's Shikhar Dhawan at the top, Yashasvi Jaiswal at the number 2 position, and then there is Uday Saharan. So there are some who've gone on to play for India who've ended up doing well, and then there are some who've just vanished without having done much. Let's also then talk about another wonderful story, and why I find this is a wonderful story is because of the timing of it. You have Sarfaraz Khan, who gets a call-up into the test side, and then his younger brother ends up scoring 200s in the tournament, is one of the best players for India along with Uday Saharan. This story is, I guess for all of us who've been watching cricket for that long, these are the stories that we love seeing emerge. To have 2 brothers doing well at the same time. What can be better for the father who's just done everything to get these 2 guys to be where they are?
Yeah, I think his father is the real hero, because the amount of hard work he has put in into making his sons the kind of cricketers they have turned out to be. Especially Sarfaraz Khan has been toiling in the domestic circuit for 4-5 years now, and finally a well-deserved test call-up for him. And then in the same year you have your younger brother turning up for the under-19 team. He finished as the 2nd highest run scorer, I guess. Also picked up 6-7 wickets. So I think Mushir Khan has a better chance to be a long-term player for Team India, because he's an all-rounder. He gives he has that 2D, two-dimensional functioning about him. So I think he has a better chance to play for India for long term. But obviously, you see that runs in the family. The kind of hard work they have put in.
Now, we've been talking about Australia's champion mentality. To see that Australia as a team have won 27 ICC trophies across formats in men and women's events, which includes 4 under-19 World Cup titles. That just goes on to show how much they want to win world championships. They lifted the under-19 trophy in 1988, 2002, 2010 and 24. But look at that, 6 men's ODI World Cup trophies. Goes on for 6 women's T20 World Cup trophies. So you're looking at this as across age group, across men and women, and across formats. 2 men's champions trophy titles, and then 1 men's T20 World Cup, and then there is the ICC World Test Championship final. So just goes on to show how dominant Australia have been in ICC tournaments. And I think it's got to be said that once you've won this, and once you've won this often enough, you do end up believing. And I think that'll always be the problem with South Africa in World Cups. And when you look at Australia, that would be their advantage. They know what it takes to win.
Yeah, and now with India too, this is going to be a massive disadvantage for India going forward, because now we have not won an ICC trophy in senior men's cricket for a decade, more than a decade, and under 19 we have lost 3 of the last 5 finals we have played in since 2016. So yeah, that sets us back a lot.
Okay, now on to the ongoing 5-match test series between hosts India and England, which is locked at 1-all after India won the second match in Visakhapatnam last week. An unusual 9-day gap between matches has seen Ben Stokes and his team head to Abu Dhabi for a non-cricket related break with families and lots of golf, whereas for Rohit Sharma's team, the break has been headlined by news that Virat Kohli will not return for the Rajkot and Ranchi fixtures and might sit out of the final test as well. Add to that is the doubt that remains over the availability of Ravindra Jadeja and KL Rahul for the third test starting on Thursday, as the pair, while added to the squad, must clear a fitness test before being named in the 11. Rahul and Jadeja were India's highest run getters in the first innings of the Hyderabad test, which England won, and the pair's absence was felt in Visakhapatnam as India's first innings total of 396 was fashioned around a double century to Yashasvi Jaiswal, and in the second innings the batters managed just 255 with the bat. With the ball, Akshar was expensive, and Kuldeep Yadav, who played in Jadeja's place, went at 4 runs per over in both of England's innings. Rahul, should he be past fit by the team's medical staff, will slot in for Shreyas Iyer, who's been dropped after failing to score a 50 in his last 12 test innings, which means that Rajat Patidar should get another game. Jadeja's return would mean that one of Akshar and Kuldeep makes way unless India go the England way and play just one pacer. There were reports of the selectors resting Jasprit Bumrah for this match on the basis of workload management, but these proved to be mere conjectures as the leader of India's bowling was named in the squad for the remaining 3 tests. Mohammad Siraj has been recalled, and then there is the Bengal seamer Akash Deep. He's been handed a maiden call-up. But which of the 2 replaces Mukesh Kumar, who looked rather ordinary in the last match, will be decided on the nature of the Rajkot surface. The Saurashtra Cricket Association stadium pitch is known as a batting paradise, and the 2 test matches played at the venue in 2016 and 2018 have seen 9 centuries scored in them. Rahul Dravid has remained non-committal on the nature of the 22 yards for this match, which has left everyone wondering as to whether Rajkot will break from tradition and roll out a more balanced wicket like we've seen in Hyderabad and Visakhapatnam. If, however, we get a typical Rajkot surface, then it could be music to the ears of batters like Rohit Sharma, who since the start of 2022 averages just 32 at home and has only one score of 50 or more, as well as Shubman Gill, whose 100 in the last match ended a sequence of 13 innings without a 50, and wicketkeeper K.S. Bharat, who has an average of 20 from 7 tests. We're going to continue having the conversation around what we can expect in the third test, but a quick break and we'll be right back.
This has been a little hurried approach in framing these laws.
If the woman breaks the promise, it is not an offence. But if the man breaks the offence, he is guilty of rape.
There's something wrong on the parts of the courts. They gave importance to the rights of the accused, but gave no importance to the rights of the victim.
It's very difficult to establish whether it is a deliberate hit and run or whether it is an accidental hit and run. Now, just because a person will not stop and report the matter to the police, the punishment is made very drastic.
And in fact, the news that has just come in is, which could be a big blow for this Indian team, given how their batting struggled as well in the last game, except for Yashasvi Jaiswal, who scored a double hundred. KL Rahul, he's been ruled out of the third test against England. This is a report in the Indian Express. And Devdutt Padikkal, who's been in good form, has scored 151 runs in the Ranji Trophy game that they played. He is all set to replace KL Rahul in the test squad. Now, what this report says is that the senior selection committee, while naming the Karnataka batsman for the last 3 test matches, had added a rider. We told you about that rider. On Saturday, while announcing the team, they said that their Ravindra Jadeja and KL Rahul's participation is subject to fitness clearance from the BCCI medical team. And now Indian Express is reporting that while Rahul wasn't found to be fully fit yet, Jadeja was given the green signal to take the field for the crucial third test, which is tied at 1-all. The medical team, it is learnt, has told the selectors that they would observe Rahul for 1 more week to take a call on his availability, and accordingly will take that decision. And replacing Rahul in the test squad will be another Karnataka batsman, Devdutt Padikkal. Like I said, he'd scored 151. Chairman of selectors Ajit Agarkar, he was watching that Karnataka versus Tamil Nadu game from the stands. He's been in great form. He's already scored hundreds against Punjab in the opening game. Then there was another 100 against Goa. So he's been looking good. He's been in good form. Has also been playing well for India A in the 2 unofficial tests against England Lions. He'd scored 100 and a 50 there as well. So he is going to be replacing KL Rahul. Now, we've also got to understand this, that the series is locked at 1-all. England did win the first game. In the second game as well, if it wasn't for Yashasvi Jaiswal's knock, India could have been in trouble. There is no Virat Kohli in this side. Rohit Sharma is struggling with form. Shreyas Iyer has been out. 2 experienced batters in Ajinkya Rahane, Cheteshwar Pujara are long gone. So this is a side which doesn't have that kind of experience and have already lost 1 test match. And now KL Rahul, one of their main batters, he's been ruled out. How much of an impact will this have on the Indian team?
I think it's going to be a huge miss for India, because KL Rahul would have added a lot more stability, especially in the absence of Shreyas Iyer. I know Shreyas Iyer hasn't been in good form, but you expect him to perform, in home conditions, and he's one of your best spin batters. But then once he's ruled out, you have to have someone like a KL Rahul in your middle order, because that gives you stability. I don't think Devdutt Padikkal, even if he's added to the squad, comes in directly, because you have a Sarfaraz Khan and a Rajat Patidar who are already there, selected based on merit before him. So I guess Sarfaraz Khan is the one who's going to walk in the playing 11 if Rahul is to be replaced here directly. I don't think Devdutt Padikkal straight away walks into the 11, and Jadeja coming in is going to be huge for India, because he obviously gives you a lot more batting depth and also gives you an additional spin option.
But that's the other thing, right? With this Indian team, what seems to have happened now is that in both these test matches, you see the pitches were good. Right. They weren't out and out, the spinning tracks that one expected before the series began. So these were good pitches. You saw good competition between bat and ball. But Rajkot, what are they going to put out in Rajkot? Will it be a similar kind of track that we saw in Visakhapatnam? Because it is a batter's paradise in Rajkot, at least from the previous games. So what do you think? Will they look to, get a track where the match is again over within 3 or 4 days? or
Yeah,
would they look
yeah.
for a more sporting
I
wicket?
think India would now like to take their chance with the pitch, because they,
But their
they're
batters
already
haven't been playing spin
exactly.
well.
But then you have to take your chances when you're playing at home. Ravi Ashwin recently come out and said that there is no home advantage this time around, because we are not playing at the major test centers. We are playing it at new venues, and we are not aware what sort of conditions are we going to face in those test centers. But when you look at the kind of position India are in with these injuries, Virat out, KL out, and you have a batting order which is not that experienced. The likes of Shubman Gill have just come into form in the last test matches. You cannot.
Rohit hasn't been scoring.
Yeah, that's not a confident batting lineup at all, and you have to take your chance with your bowling, and you'll have to play on your strength. If the spinners are your strength, you go on and get a pitch that suits your spinners and try to bowl England out as quickly as possible and try to win the game.
Okay, with that, we're going to wrap this up, this discussion on cricket. Thanks so much, Abhishek, for talking to us. Now, let's also talk about hockey. In a gripping showdown, India emerged victorious against the Netherlands in their second match of the 2023-24 edition of the FIH Men's Hockey Pro League on Sunday. India drew first blood with a brilliantly executed goal by Hardik Singh in the 13th minute. The European champions fought back fiercely, with Jip Janssen finding the net in the dying seconds of the first half, followed by Cohen Bien, giving them the lead in the third quarter. India, determined to level the score, intensified their efforts. Their persistence paid off when, in his 200th international appearance, Captain Harmanpreet Singh unleashed a powerful drag flick to equalize in the 58th minute. The spotlight then shifted to veteran goalkeeper P.R. Shrijesh during the penalty shootouts, as he made 3 outstanding saves, while India's shooters converted their chances flawlessly to secure their second win. Following their 4-1 triumph over Spain the previous day, the Indians now boast 5 points from 2 matches in the 5th season of the Men's Pro League, having clinched the bonus shootout point against the Dutch.
परफॉर्मेंस काफी अच्छा रहा। जैसे हम लोगों ने पहला गोल किया तो उसके बाद हम लोग गोल कंसीड किया, बट पूरी टीम का जो एफर्ट था वो लास्ट विसल तक अच्छा रहा, और जिसके वजह से हमें लास्ट में गोल भी अच्छा मिला, और टीम का जो एक माइंडसेट था वो काफी स्ट्रांग रहा था। ये मैच हमारे लिए काफी अच्छा रहा, और स्पेशली इसको देखेंगे हम लोग कैसे हम लोग और ज्यादा इंप्रूव कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि नेदरलैंड का ये कि वो जैसे आपने पहले बोल दिया कि वो नंबर 1 है, ठीक है, उसको कभी भी अंडरएस्टिमेट में नहीं कर सकते। अभी एक और मैच उनके साथ बाकी है, तो यही रहेगा कि हम लोगों ने जो चीजें अच्छी की उसको कंटिन्यू करें, और जहां पे हम लोग इंप्रूव कर सकते हैं उसको इंप्रूव करें। और डेफिनेटली कि जैसे प्लेंटिको ने हमारा है कि हम लोग और बनाए, क्योंकि हमारे पास बेस्ट ड्रैग फ्लिकर्स हैं, उनको ज्यादा यूज करना चाहिए। और काफी अच्छा अगर देखा जाए थ्रू और जो आज का गेम है काफी अच्छा रहा। वो एक पूरी टीम में काफी कॉन्फिडेंस लेवल आए। नंबर 1 टीम के साथ खेलते तो डेफिनेटली कि वो नंबर 1 किसी रीजन के साथ है, ठीक है, तो वो डेफिनेटली वो कई चीजों में कई बार अच्छा करते हैं, तो उसको हम लोग को कैसे अभी नेक्स्ट मैच में हमें बीट करना, क्योंकि अभी हम लोग खेल चुके हैं, हमें लेसन एक प्रोसेस हम लोग सीख रहे हैं कि हाँ कैसे हम लोग और ज्यादा उनके साथ अच्छा खेल सकते हैं। तो हाँ, जैसे कोच ने बोला कि हमें पोजेशन अपने पास रखना है, और हम लोगों ने दूसरे में भी अच्छा किया कि हमें पोजेशन अपने पास रखा, जिसकी बदौलत हम लोगों ने काफी अच्छा जो गेम प्लान था हमारा अच्छा चला था।
Less than a year after breaking the world record in marathon, Kenya's 24-year-old Kelvin Kiptum died in a road accident in Nairobi. Kiptum exploded onto the marathon scene when he ran a world record 2 hours and 35 seconds in Chicago in October, taking 34 seconds off fellow Kenyan Eliud Kipchoge's previous record. He was just 23 years old at the time and competing in only his 3rd marathon. Kiptum was the overwhelming favorite to take the gold at the upcoming Summer Olympics in Paris.
World marathon record holder Kelvin Kiptum and his coach were killed in a car crash in Kenya's Rift Valley on Sunday. That cut short the promising career of the 24-year-old Kenyan, who had clocked 3 of the 7 fastest marathon times in history. Kiptum had set the world record at the Chicago Marathon in October with a time of 2 hours and 35 seconds. He was looking to become the first man to finish in under 2 hours in race conditions in Rotterdam in April, and to make his Olympic debut in Paris in July. In a statement, World Athletics President Sebastian Coe said the organization was deeply saddened by the news, saying, quote, "An incredible athlete leaving an incredible legacy. We will miss him dearly." According to the police report, Kiptum was driving his Rwandan coach Gervais Hakizimana and a woman in a car near the Rift Valley village where he was born when the accident occurred. The athlete lost control of the vehicle and veered off the road into a ditch before crashing into a large tree. Kiptum and Hakizimana died at the scene while the woman survived with serious injuries. Tributes have streamed in following the tragic news. Former Kenya Prime Minister Raila Odinga offered his condolences on social media, saying, quote, "Our nation grieves the profound loss of a true hero."
Moving on to Super Bowl, and Patrick Mahomes threw a touchdown pass to Mecole Hardman in overtime to give the Kansas City Chiefs a 25-22 win over San Francisco 49ers in a Sin City Super Bowl thriller on Sunday, cementing their status as an NFL dynasty. The blockbuster finish in Las Vegas was worthy of the biggest show on the Strip as the Chiefs won a third Super Bowl in 5 years and became the NFL's first repeat champions since the New England Patriots in February 2005. After 49ers rookie kicker Jake Moody had booted a field goal to open overtime, Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes marched down the field and finished the game with a 3-yard touchdown pass to Hardman in the final seconds of the opening overtime period. At the Super Bowl in 2020, it was also the Chiefs who sent the 49ers home empty-handed when they scored 21 unanswered points in the fourth quarter for a 31-20 victory in Miami. Mahomes produced a 75-yard game-winning drive to prove yet again why he is rated the best quarterback in the business, earning Super Bowl's most valuable player honors for a third time. Well, that time for us to wrap this up, but everybody was wondering, will she, won't she? Taylor Swift, finally, she chucked a drink, she bit her nails, buried her face in her hands and hugged her friends throughout a nerve-shredding Super Bowl. In the end, it was hugs and kisses for her Kansas City Chiefs boyfriend Travis Kelce on a field smothered with glitter and ticker tape as the world digested an epic. Goodbye.
वर्ष 2070 तक भारत नेट जीरो का लक्ष्य हासिल करेगा.
There is certainly a wall of capital coming into the clean tech, climate tech space, not just in India but across the world.
This and more, streaming on world's first news OTT, News 9 Plus. Download now.
A defiant performance by Ten Hag's men. Now standing at 7 feet 4 inches, Satnam Singh is making his way into professional wrestling.
We are getting more good news for India.
How do you fulfill that promise? Because ultimately expectations have to be met. If you look at the political landscape, is it really changing for women? And what is the inability of the forces that dead bodies surface but not the living people?
It's probably the best kept secret in India.
Family-owned business, which has been extremely clinical in their approach. They have not hesitated ever to kill their darlings.
Typical to a South Indian business empire, I think they've shunned the limelight, almost deliberately.
For the very first time in our investigation, we unmasked the killer of Ravindra Matre.
In 5G, we have to stand with the world, and in 6G, we have to lead the world.
Winning a Grammy was an absolutely surreal experience.